just a hack. It's just an absolute hack. And he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
TCU traveling to play at Texas, number 4 versus number 18. This game has huge implications on the outcome of the Big 12. Less for TCU because I think if they lose, they are in a nice spot where they can still play in that championship game. But Texas, this is a must win. Now, there's a lot of thoughts that you can take into this equation, but the first one that I have to bring up, Sean, I am legitimately worried about if Quentin Johnston plays or not. And we saw last week against Texas Tech that when Quentin Johnston was unavailable, when he got injured early on, they had some offensive struggles. It helped that they were playing a bad Texas Tech team that they were able to recover in the second half and then easily, handedly win. Now, this is not that same team. This Texas defense, when they're on, they're hot. And when they're playing at home, they're even hotter. So I am a little wary of TCU if Quentin Johnston is not available. And according to Coach Dykes, he is hopeful that he plays.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just doing my quick maths here. Johnston, 42 catches, dug in 161 completions off the top of my head. That's 25% of the passes that Max Duggan has completed has gone to Quentin Johnston.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty big factor in the offense, at least for the completion standpoint. 244 attempts. Okay, I get it. So if we're going to average that down a ratio and let all the Twitter analytics dorks try to tell me, oh, he's really not that much of an offense. That's a big part of your offense that you're losing. He got 650 yards on the season, 4 touchdowns. He has a reason that this Texas Christian offense is going the way that it is. And you can't take away from the chemistry either. If you're a college team, a high school team, middle school, or a professional team, a chemistry between a quarterback and a wide receiver is pretty huge. And especially if you're winning, it just gets better. You stay after practice later. You hang out with each other more. You go to practice early in the locker room. You're constantly throwing the ball back and forth, throwing it around. You see when teams are winning that the players on them want to stay on the field longer. The big boys don't want to be. I don't want to be on the field anymore. I'm drenched in sweat. I just lost 4 pounds in practice. Get me to the dining hall, please, and thank you. Whereas the skill guys who can run for all day and the quarterbacks who can throw for all day, they're staying after practice. We saw it after a win. After we strung 2 or 3 wins together, quarterbacks and wide receivers stay back longer. They do. So that is something that I truly believe is happening with TCU. And if you have your number 1 target not playing in this game, it's not great, even though Texas still pretty disappointing on the back end is what I'll say.
Yeah,
still pretty embarrassing. That Oklahoma State game, I won't get past it. They can't cover worth a damn. They're not tackling in the defensive backfield either.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not too worried.
There have been defensive inconsistencies for Texas, and like that's to your point. TCU has one of the best yards per completion in the country. Like they, without a doubt, I know a lot of it's Johnson, but the diverse grouping of not only receivers and running backs, but also Garrett Riley is, in my opinion, one of the best offensive coordinators in the country. Someone is going to swoop him up. The scheming by him that there's just guys constantly wide open, I give him a lot of props. The fact that they're able to produce huge chunk plays the way that they do makes them really dangerous in this game. And like you're talking about, the way that they played against Oklahoma State is concerning because TCU could replicate that type of production, and Oklahoma State's receivers they're okay. I think TCU has a better receiving core overall. They've got better offensive weapons, and I take Duggan over Spencer Sanders any day. But again, if we get the Texas team that showed up against Kansas State and we get the Texas team that showed up against Alabama, I have a lot of faith in Texas. And you know what? Wait. I don't know if I want. I don't know if I want this show to be judging a Kansas State win. Given our thoughts on Kansas State, with you believing them to be overrated, me believing them to be appropriately rated. Both TCU beat Kansas State by 10 points. Texas beat them by 7. All right, so how much are we going to go into this Kansas State game? Because I don't want to call Kansas State frauds. I don't want to. No,
but. Shoe fits, right? Shoe fits a little bit. Shoe's a little big, a little snug. It's not there. Go ahead.
Before I was rudely interrupted.
Go then. Shit.
What has hampered Texas in their bad performances and what helped them, especially against Kansas State, is when Sarkisian realized, hey, I can't not give Bijan the ball. If they feed Bijan the way that they did against Kansas State, there's very few teams in the country that can stop Bijan Robinson. You know what? The only thing that's been stopping Bijan Robinson, Steve Sarkisian, for not giving him the damn football. So if this is a normal day and they give him 25 plus touches, he's unstoppable. And he probably would be in the Heisman. He'd be in the Heisman conversation if he was getting, I think, a more appropriate amount of touches for how good he is.
He's still got 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. TCU giving up about 150 yards per game on the ground. Texas only giving up 123. What are we doing?
Yeah, they got a strong run defense, dude.
I guess
they got this really strong run defense.
Yeah, god damn it! If Robinson goes off, this game is over. It's over.
So
yours isn't a lock to not turn the ball over though either.
Right. So to that point, if we're giving a prediction for this, Sean, like a concise prediction,
boy,
who do you sit with?
Oh, fuck. All right, I've made the decision easy. I'm riding the hot hand, the hottest hand. TCU's white hot. They're just a hot team that has won all year. I'm not going to buy in. I'm not going to start drinking the Texas Kool-Aid right now. I'm not. Okay? They're not. Fuck, they have talent though. No, they don't. They have talent, but it's not polished talent yet. TCU, not as talented, but that's a polished ass team that they have right there. They are a team. They're a team that doesn't give a fuck who they're playing week to week. They're a team that goes into it with a good game plan that is incredibly well coached. They're disciplined, and they have a quarterback they can rely on. They've got offensive weapons, and their defense is able to get off the field sometimes. And for a Big 12 team, that's all I'm asking for. Just get off the field sometimes, and we can win a game.
I was about to pick Texas, but now as I'm thinking, I have been hurt too many times by Texas, and I know that I've
times this year. Yes, I join you in that. And I don't care. I don't give a shit about Texas either. But I've been ready for them to do their thing, and they haven't.
Especially in the prediction I had for the Oklahoma State game. Like, that is one of the worst games that I've predicted incorrectly. And that was very frustrating for me. As much as I think some people will like to say that I've been very TCU biased this season, I don't think that bias is unjustified. Texas is the more talented roster. That's not a hot take, but I totally agree with your point. Texas, for some reason, in these really big must-win matchups against bigger opponents, seem to not be able to finish games. I'm leaning TCU. I think that TCU is going to come out. They're going to win this game. It's going to be a close game. If Quentin Johnson plays and he's fully healthy, fully recovered.
That was going to be my final caveat, because I know we're doing it on a Wednesday. I know we're doing it on Wednesday. It could be a very big pop-off game. A lot of my confidence is relying on Johnston playing. I would not be saying all of this so confidently if he were not playing. And again, still up in the air. What are we going to do? But right now, at the current state of him, I'm under the impression that he is, just by a yes, that I will take TCU in that manner.